Hey, good morning, everyone. So I'm Arnel Madraso. I'm the teacher blogger. So I just arrived here at Far Eastern University again. So this is 6:45 a.m. blog. So my class is at 7:30. So this is a Freedom Park, and at my back, that's actually the heritage site. No, this is the admin building. This was renovated just recently, but still the structure is just the same. Maybe some other time we will be blogging the interior design. So this is really one of the best architectural design, interior design in the Philippines. So maybe we will feature that later. And then here, this is education building, still the same. So for those of you who graduated in Far Eastern University, exactly the same building as we have before. So again, first thing in the morning, it's stretching, right? Okay. So you need to stretch. But other than stretching, I'm going to show you how I process readings. I learned this from my mentor. No? So if there's one thing that I learned from my mentor, Dr. Alan Bernardo, it's the hard copy. You have to print hard copies for you to be able to appreciate all the details of the reading. So here, see with me, I already have the hard copy of Madraso and Bernardo 2018. So I already have it printed. You know why? Because I should not rest. This is a reminder that one publication is just your last. And then you have to keep on publishing because this one will just eventually fade. So we need to think of another or new studies. So this one, I need to read and reread this because in every study, in every research, there would always be recommendation, right? So if you will read this, Madraso and Bernardo 2018, the recommendation is maybe it's not in the proficiency of languages because previous studies would look into the degree of bilingualism and trilingualism, and that compared trilinguals with bilinguals, especially for the balanced trilinguals. For example, the findings in 2018, Madraso and Bernardo 2018, that trilinguals would process inhibitory tasks better than bilinguals. But in the second research that I'm holding here, it's actually Berate study. So Berate et al. Research on bilingualism would look not into the proficiency. They're not thinking that it is in the proficiency. Maybe they're thinking that it is the switching. So that is what I'm going to write next. So actually, I've been thinking about this, but there are certain details that I need to be clear with. So in fact, last night I've been reading this. So what's the new variable that we can come up with? So I'm thinking, in the study of Berate, there's no proficiency, right? But in our study, we measured the proficiency of the participants. So, what about testing students' proficiency and as well language switching, right? So, language switching. But Verate is actually positing that, Verate et al. Posited that it is not in the proficiency that we can see the difference. It is in the language switching. Even if you're proficient, but if you're not switching to one language to the other, that would matter in terms of executive control. That is what I'm That is what I'm trying to be clear with. Because in the literature, always the degree of bilingualism would matter. It would always matter. So I will have to settle my thoughts first. I need to really revisit a literature that would point out that it is in the degree of bilingualism. But, in the study of Madrazo Bernardo 2012, we recommended that perhaps there could be degree of bilingualism as a variable. For example, comparing partial bilinguals and balanced bilinguals, right? So we will see. So I'm thinking if the rate did not use proficiency, then I will have to use degree of proficiency, right? And then compare the results with degree and then compare it with language switching, right? So that is what I'm thinking. So we need to have representation or representative participants. We need to compare whether what would be the result of participants' executive control if we will measure their degree of bilingualism, proficiency, and then their frequency of language use. Frequency of language switch, right? So that's it. Okay? So this is how I think. Do you see how I think? So I verbalize. As a blogger, it's advantages on my part as a researcher as well. Because when you're a blogger, you verbalize. Same thing as a researcher. So whenever you see me talking alone in Far Eastern University, that means to say I'm blogging or I'm thinking. But I'm not crazy. I'm just verbalizing. So this is part of doing research. Okay? So bye. See you later.